Welcome back. I wish we could play the Welcome Back Carter music and not have
I
to worry
don't
about a
know who you are.
copyright strike, right?
I don't know who you are. Have we met? I
I
don't.
know, right? Hello. Who are
Hi.
you?
This is nice meeting you.
I know, right? Hey, everybody. Hey. Des, I have not forgotten about you. We definitely listen. We've been on hiatus. That's all I can say. That's the quickest, fastest, and easiest way I can say this, child. We've been on hiatus. We've been on hiatus. People been
No,
traveling and stuff, and the summer was the summer, honey.
um,
But welcome back, Doctor El Teddy. How are you, sir?
I am great. I am great. How art thou?
I honestly, I'm trying to make it. I have not been able to really find my footing since I've been back from France. I don't know, them Parisians done put some hoodoo voodoo on me or something. Huh? I
They
have
don't
not
put a
been able
head
to
show
my
you.
my mojo back since then, but I'm working on it. I'm
Mm.
gonna fake it till I make it.
Well, that's how you got to do sometimes, honey. You got to fake it till you make it, honey.
Yeah, I'm gonna fake it till I make it, but it's all good. It is all good. Um, y'all, we are back. We're gonna go ahead and jump into this. My bad. This is called, back to school, New Year, same problems. And so we just have some beginning of the year type situations. The one thing that we didn't pull a story on, but we can just kind of talk about it because it's across the board, and I think at this point everybody knows it's the case. The teacher shortage.
Yes. I mean, there are literally thousands, and I'm not being hyperbolic at all when I say that. There are thousands of cheap. There are states reporting tens of thousands
Mm-hmm,
of shortages, tens of thousands in a
mm-hmm.
state. And I haven't even looked up the numbers in my home state of Florida, but we're talking about
Florida is
kids,
ridiculous. Florida is almost at a crippling number.
right? Because you're talking about,
Yeah,
I think they have three of the top 10 largest school districts in the whole country that are in
yeah.
Florida alone. And
Yeah,
so
I know North Carolina. What number did I give you the other day when I said
it
North
was like
Carolina?
8,000 or something
Yeah, it was
like
like
that.
I think it was 6,000, but it was so let's say somewhere between 6 to 8,000 in the entire state of North Carolina of teacher vacancies.
And you're,
Um,
you're talking about, I'll give you a perfect example. In Florida, Dade County alone houses on a normal year 22,000 teachers alone. You see what I'm saying? And so
yeah,
you can only
the
imagine what the
pixels are
shortages
messing up.
look like.
Your
Looking like.
your internet is giving you fever right now, El Teddy.
Oh God,
Your pixels, your pixelation is off.
hold on.
Okay. Tracy, exactly. Tracy says they told me I could teach and I could get my degree while teaching. And I actually was going to say that there are some states that are allowing people who have not finished college to actually start because if you're in an education program, most people do a student teaching, a semester of student teaching, and they're just foregoing all of that. They like forget a student teacher, just come on in here, just bring your
I
tail.
better now? Do I look
That's a
better
lot
now?
better. Yes,
Okay.
that's a lot better. Okay, yeah. Um, I did a TikTok a couple of weeks ago, and in my TikTok, what I said was, "Oh, ooh, oh, you back?
I hope so.
I see you. You see me. We see each other."
Yes.
Okay. I did a TikTok a couple of weeks ago, and what I said in my TikTok was, "There is no teaching shortage. There is no shortage of people in this country who are qualified to be teachers. There's a shortage of people who are willing to teach under the current conditions of education." Now I said a little more rough in my TikTok, but I'm gonna be a little nice over here. But the reality is there are plenty of people who have the qualifications, who have their teaching degree, who have experience, who have been in the trenches. But we are no longer, I don't know if it's that new generation coming up behind us. I don't know if it's the pandemic. I don't know what it is, but we are no longer willing to put up with what people want us to put up with to teach. And at this point, it's not even about the money. For a long time, I would say, oh, well, if you pay teachers more, it's not even about the money anymore. It's not even about the money anymore. El Teddy, you there? Or are you frozen?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. No, I couldn't tell because you weren't
Oh,
moving. So I didn't know.
no, I was looking at wow, something we're supposed to be going over. But
Right.
just to add to it, people, we're at critical mass. People are not going back. They're not going back unless, and the thing about it is they have no reason to. The job market right now is saturated. There are so many other avenues and places where they can go earn more money, have more respectability, have less people hounding them with micromanagement and so forth, and have the freedom to have when they clock out. They don't even have to think about work, you know?
Dishing with
And
Dishing with Dad says it's a revolution. The field is mostly standing up and trying to fight for what's coming down, or fight for leaving what's coming down the pipeline. I don't, you know what, Des? I don't even know if it's so much that people are worried about what's coming down the pipeline. I think people are. It's where we are. Some of the news stories that we're going to get into today just let you know just where we are. You know, and the political climate of the last couple of years with book banning and LGBTQ rights and critical race theory, and you know, just all of the things on top of what we dealt with the pandemic. Because I said it then, y'all can go back in the archives. El Teddy is my witness. I can go back in the archives. I said then, I said the pandemic is going, this is going to change everything as it relates to what people, what we were willing to deal with, because we saw how people really felt about us when parents were literally picketing and protesting, like, we don't give a damn about you dying. Open these
right.
daggone schools back up. And I think it put in perspective for a lot of people who didn't already understand. Oh yeah, we're just a big old babysitter, and these people really don't give a damn.
Yep. And the thing
Have you heard
about it
about the
is,
South Carolina superintendent race? I have not. I have not. Send us a link. Send us an article, Des.
I didn't even hear what I didn't even see the comment. What did he say?
He said, "Have we heard about the South Carolina superintendent race?" And you know, so I told him to send us an article because I didn't know. So send us an article, Des. We
Um,
can check it out. We can read up on it.
the thing about it is, once you leave and you get a taste of freedom, Harriet comes and frees you on the Underground Railroad, and you realize that life is better. Why would you go back? And people say, "Well, what about the kids?" Well, why don't you go and oppress yourself for that? You know what I'm saying?
You
You know
know,
what I liken it to? I liken it to when black people were enslaved and some of them had worked for their freedom and finally got freedom. And some of the white slave owners still wanted them to work and say, "Oh, but we're working for the country and we're working to help America be great." Wait, what? Well, what about me? Okay, I know. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of the same thing. Like, what are you talking about? Like, really?
and that's, you know, honestly, at the end of the day, that's, for a long time that worked. That, well, what about the kids? It really did work. They really was this whole guilt that they put on us behind leaving the
Hmm.
kids and all these different things. And like, I remember when I first started teaching, teachers didn't retire in the middle of the school year. No matter when you were eligible to retire, you waited to the end of that school year for the most part, right? Because it was that mindset of, oh, I don't want to leave my kids in the middle of the year. I want to finish out the school year. You had people who were eligible to retire in October, stay until June because of the kids. And now, child, they retire. They eligible to retire September the 28th. They retiring on September the 28th. Oh well, figure it out.
Mm.
I agree. We truly have to hold the line and continue to build a cohesive. Wait a minute, a cohesive labor movement. Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. Let me read you this, El Teddy, and then we're gonna get into these articles. The Democratic candidate is a former teacher and a strong teacher advocate. Started the South Carolina for Education group in our state. Her Republican opponent, doesn't meet the experience or education requirement for the role. Well, that's child. That ain't nothing new.
That was even before all of this. That hey,
Well,
that's been
right.
stated in a whole lot of places.
Child, well, you don't want me to go down that road, but the whole education reform movement of the early 2000s was led by somebody who won't qualify to teach, Michelle Rhee. But anyway,
Yeah, complete. Why y'all got us started on that woman? On that woman, dear God, y'all know she takes every opportunity she can to stab that woman right in the jugular.
y'all know I don't have no use for her. Anyway,
Down.
ooh, I don't have no use for that woman. Anyway, hold on, let me. Look at Travel Love said, "Here we go."
Right. Y'all know how she get. Y'all know how she get. Yeah.
Oh Lord. Okay. So we have a few articles, so we're gonna do things a little bit different. Hey Lamar, hey everybody who's there. First of all, thank you for everybody who is here. Welcome back. Y'all have already started the conversation. Y'all know how we do over here. But what we're gonna do it a little different. We have a couple of articles on one particular subject. Since we've been gone so long, we're gonna try to cluster these things together. So the first couple of articles I'm gonna just kind of run through real quick, and then El Teddy and I are just gonna kind of discuss the information. So the first one, and I will put these links in the description box. They're not there now, but I will drop them in the chat as well. The first couple of articles that come from the Root. Now y'all know the Root. They sometimes the way they write is with that little bit of dry humor. So work with us. A Texas 8th grader was pulled from class and grilled about his gender identity. This is Friday. So this is a recent article. This is from last Friday. Kids have only just begun to return to their classrooms, but in Texas, transgender students are already feeling the impact of Governor Greg Abbott's directive for gender-affirming care to be investigated as child abuse. On the morning of August the 30th, child welfare employees pulled a 13-year-old transgender boy out of his classroom and proceeded to interrogate him for hours about his gender identity and other personal topics, according to court documents.
Hey, Quintessential. I just wanted to say happy birthday to
Happy
Quintessential.
birthday,
Y'all
Quintessential.
put some birthday shot. I bought some treats for you for your birthday snacks. I'm gonna eat. I know you can't eat them, but I'll eat them for you.
I was going to say, he act like he doing you a favor.
Right.
Anyway, he's talking about some, I got some snacks for us.
Birthday snacks for Quintessential. This for you, Quintessential girl.
So let me give you guys a little bit of background. In February, the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services opened an investigation into the family of a 14-year-old who was looking into socially transitioning, according to the Washington Post. Both children are now additions to a larger lawsuit brought by at least 8 other families seeking to block Governor Abbott's directive. Governor Abbott ordered back in February, he ordered the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services to investigate families who provided gender-affirming care to their children as a form of child abuse. The order was also directed mandated reporters, which is teachers, nurses, and doctors, to report families suspected of giving their children gender-affirming care to child services. It's worth noting that gender-affirming care and gender-affirming support from families have been shown to greatly reduce the risk of the S word among trans people. Go ahead, because I think we got the gist of it. That's pretty much the whole article. So go ahead.
Here, I'm gonna try not to spike out. I'm gonna try so hard.
Listen, all of these stories are gonna make you spike out.
Texas has been on this whole thing since years ago. Since we first started this whole channel, we've been going down this road about how Texas has been careening down this pipeline. And here's the thing. You have some of these very same people that were screaming from the rooftops about You can't force me to do anything. You can't force my child to wear a mask. You can't do this. How dare you can't force my child to learn American history. You can't force my child to learn about black people. You can't force my child to do anything. But then they force someone's child to be interrogated like this is the goddamn Spanish Inquisition. They force someone's child to sit through hours of interrogation. Hours. Let me say that again. Like this is some hardened criminal. Hours. And here's the other part about it is this is not a case where there's gender affirming surgeries or medical conditions or anything like that. This was a child because there are stages to this. And when they have, and a lot of times it does begin with social transitioning, where they do get used to being out in the public in their transitional state. And honestly, and a lot of times this is before they start any type of medical or anything, hormone, anything. They are just getting to the point where they're starting to acclimate themselves with carrying themselves that way. And so that because that is real raw transitioning going on, they're already self-conscious about themselves, how they look, and then the fact that you have this child who's 13 at the height of hormones, at the height of self-consciousness and insecurities and everything. Not, it is disconcerting. It is disheartening. And the fact that there aren't some parents screaming from the rooftops about what is happening to children. We're not even talking about adults. We're talking about children across the fruited plains, especially in a state like Texas, what a part of the Holy Trinity, is an outrage. And I don't hear Miguel Cardona speaking out about this. That's the thing that's most sickening. The United States Department of Education has been silent, has been mum's the word on a lot of these things that have been going on in the great state of Texas, governed by Governor Hot Wheels over there. They haven't said anything. The Biden administration hasn't been saying anything. Nobody wants to say anything about what's going on. I haven't even heard them speak out about this stuff that went on in Florida with the Don't Say Gay bill and everything. They have been mum's the word, which to me, silence is complicity. That means you're complicit in it. The shit is disgusting. And I'm sorry I gotta be cussing. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
What I find interesting is the same people that want to call this child abuse are the same people that didn't think it was child abuse to not want your child to wear a mask in the middle of a global pandemic. The same people that did not think it was child abuse to send your children back to school before there was any sort of resolution or remedy for said global pandemic. But these are the same parents that have a problem with Susie allowing her son to wear a skirt to school. Because like El Teddy just said, social transitioning does not necessarily mean it has anything to do with chemicals or medicine, anything more than simply allowing your child to explore their sexuality in a way that really ain't bothering no damn body.
Well, not even sexuality. Let me correct that. Their gender.
I'm sorry, you're right. You're right. No, you're right. No, you're absolutely correct. Their gender. Yeah. So listen, it's and like El Teddy said, to have a child be questioned, pulled out of class. I'm with you. The fact that silence is complicity. And I told y'all we gotta. Hey Tabitha, hey everybody that came in. What's up,
everybody? I see a lot of y'all in here. Y'all hit the like button and press subscribe.
Hit that like button. Listen, we are determined. We are determined. This season, we determined what we gonna get that little dollar sign at the bottom, honey. We're gonna get monetized, honey. Okay, we've been doing this
I'll
too
go ahead and
long.
press that like button. Share
Yeah,
it
share
out.
it, like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Okay. Hey, proverbial one, we got to get you back up here, love. She's one of our educators as well. We got to get proverbial one back up here. You're I know you have some insight into these topics. Okay, so the next topic, like I said, y'all, we got to hit it and quit it. We got a lot of topics to get to. So the next story, unfortunately, is along the same lines, but different, but the same. Oh, quintessential. Why are you sending me a cash app on your birthday? Girl, bye. But thank you. But girl. Anyway, you sending me money on your birthday. I'm going to be sending you money. Connecticut parents outraged. Connecticut parents outraged at race and gender vocabulary words used in teachers' worksheet. Today, this is from today at 10 o'clock a.m. And this is from The Root. At Connecticut Southern High School, an English teacher attempted to educate her students on vocabulary words regarding race and gender. But according to the patch, angry anti-CRT parents gathered at the following school board meeting to argue those terms were off the wall, and seeing them again was frustrating as hell. Here is what the controversial worksheet looked like. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so y'all can see it. I don't know if I can make it much bigger. But
you would have to probably go on Twitter, look at it on Twitter, or download the image.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I got too many tabs open on my screen, child. Okay. And I'm going to put the link to the article in the chat, so y'all can always click the link and look at this as well. But I'm gonna just show it just for the purpose of y'all see what I'm talking about. So that's the picture of the worksheet. So you see right here, it says Indigenous, and then it says American Indian, like Indigenous/American Indian. Child, I can't read it my daggone self.
The next one is marginalization.
Thank you. Then it's social justice, transgender, white privilege. That's the one that pissed them off, child. Was you teaching these kids? How dare you teach these kids about white privilege, honey?
That's the last two. The transgender got them just as much as the white privilege. They don't want no parts of all of that.
Right. Why Tracy say nobody tell us to be gone all summer? Don't do us. Anyway, although the worksheet included I just read it with the words included. But one student reported the worksheet to a counselor leading the Republican majority school board to open the floor for the real children, and that real is put in italicized, children to voice their concerns. Those concerns were just board members and parents complaining that white privilege doesn't exist. I'm gonna just read you a couple of the remarks, and then we're gonna this one quote says, "To hear about the white privilege thing again, I'm tired of it. For this to be the talk, out of all the crap that's going on, and this is it. It's frustrating as hell." Another one said, "Social
No, really, let me stop you, because
okay,
I know we have to stop this article. Just go to the next one. Go, because this segues right into the next article. You don't even gotta stop. They all tie in together, because you stopped with people complaining about there is no such thing as white privilege, and that ties us in to the very next article, which talks about
white privilege. All right.
Go ahead. Segue for us.
Okay. So this is I'm gonna share my screen for this one too, because y'all need to see this too, child. I got to see this, child. This is also all of these first couple of articles are coming from The Root. And like I said, I'm once I get a break, I'll drop all these links, but they will be in the description box afterwards. I just didn't do it beforehand because I didn't. I ain't even gonna I don't have no excuse. I just didn't. If you look at this, this is what it looks like, y'all. There was actually a white privilege card that these kids were carrying around, and it says white privilege card trumps everything. And it has the words are 0045, 0045, so forth and so on. Member since birth, good through death. Card holder, scot free.
Yeah, that's the card number 0045 4 times.
Yeah, you're right. 0045 4 times. Okay. Let me read this article, child. Are y'all mad yet? Okay. Y'all mad yet? Okay.
But y'all telling us ain't no white privilege.
When the students of Charles Page High School returned for the school year, they were greeted by a number of other students handing out white privilege cards in the hallways. I'm sorry. I always say biopic child. Um, the BIOPOC people of color, y'all know what I'm saying. Students who were fed up with the nonsense hosted a walkout in protest of the racism. The report says these cards sold on Amazon were seen nationally, but this is the first time they were spotted locally in Oklahoma. The cards I just read y'all what the card said. One student, Fabian Guyton, said he was handed a card and called a racial slur in the same moment. Previously, a picture of a black student circulated Snapchat offering a cash reward if caught. Parents have previously complained about racism within the Sand Springs School District. This time, the students had enough. Sand Springs Public School Superintendent Sherry Durkee said members of her administrative team investigated the incident immediately. She said the district students are really good at reporting to us, so it wasn't long before they let us know what was going on, adding that she has no idea what a student intended purpose was in distributing the cards. Of the walkout, she said that it was peaceful and uneventful. I think students felt the need to have their voices heard, which is understandable, she said. About 40 kids walked out at 11 o'clock today. There was no violence. They spoke their piece. They weren't off campus. Then they dissembled and went back to school. I would say thank you for standing up. I want to hear what you have to say. I think our administrative team does as well. Our job is to educate them, but a part of educating them is to listen to them. Trump supporting parents are raising their children in hateful households, then sending them off to school with kids that were taught to be disrespectful. Let's say it once again for the umpteenth time, for the people in the back, racism is taught. Oklahoma banned critical race theory, so it's very unlikely the students will learn in school what they are deprived of at home. What say you?
I mean, I do want to add that the principal said, "Oh, they'll be reprimanded," but she won't go into details as to what that reprimand or what that punishment will be.
The
So,
question.
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, babe. Go ahead.
No. Because my thing is, we end one article with white people saying that there's no such animal as white privilege, and begin the next article with white people handing out white privilege cards.
No, not white people, white children.
Yes, children, and
Yes,
that's one
white
thing
children.
I've been screaming this on this page and on my own page. If y'all listen, Whitney Houston owe us something because we should not be believing that the children are our future. They are not our future, and if they are our future, dear God above, because Generation Z is certainly in many cases more racist and prejudiced than their parents. You got to go back to their great grandparents to think about the level of racist racism and prejudice and bigotry that some of these Generation Z white people have. You got to go all the way back to their not grandparents but great grandparents to understand that level of bigotry and hatred and racism that we got going on in the young people in Generation Zers. We're talking about younger than 18-year-old. So if you think that it's going to get better with time, you're reaching.
Yeah,
It's scary. It's
absolutely.
absolutely scary to think about.
Yeah, I just my thing is the audacity that these kids had to show up for school on the first day. Because like I know El Teddy, kids aren't stupid. Kids weigh the possible consequence with the action, and they make a decision about whether it's worth it to them. The fact that these students organized, because this was organized, they ordered them, they received them, they organized how they were going to pass this stuff out. that tells me that there was no fear of any retaliation or any consequence, or at
Right.
least not a serious enough consequence for them to say this might not be a good idea.
And the fact that you had a large number of students that agreed to participate. It's one thing if you got one crazy Yahoo, maybe a handful of crazies, that say, "Oh, we're gonna do this," and everybody be like, "Bro, we can't do this." Or I'm sorry, like the white people say, "Bro, we can't do this, bro." But this was like, we're here for it. We're all about it. Let's go ahead and get this started. Which means that they know full well that they have this that there won't be any repercussions, and they already know their parents are ready, locked and loaded to go down to that school and protest if any substantial repercussions happen to them. They
Fact.
know full well. But you got a teacher that is over there damn near about to lose their job for a worksheet that did nothing but teach actual academic terms that you should learn.
Right. Absolutely. 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 Anyway, well, I told you about the coworker that got mad at me when I said something about white privilege, and he about jumped down my throat. And I was like, listen, little boy,
Right. This ain't what you want.
this ain't what you want. All right. So that's why I said, y'all, we sort of clustered these stories together. So
Hey,
um
everybody in the chat, we do see y'all. I see it's a lot of y'all in here today. We are so happy. Y'all make
it
sure to click
is.
that
And if you
like
are
button.
new, we got almost 40 people in here, which that's a big crowd for us, y'all.
Mhm.
So if you are new here, please do me a favor, hit the like button, and also
Like
go ahead
button,
and
like,
hit that
share,
subscribe
subscribe.
button. Go ahead
Hmm.
and listen and do like my girl Quintessential does. Go on and share us out. Put us
Share
on
it
your
out.
social
Share it on
media.
your Twitter. Share it on your social
Yes,
media. Tell
Quintessential
people we
puts us
here.
out there, honey. But if
We
this is your
here.
first time here, welcome, and I hope you enjoy what we're doing. We'll give you guys, make sure you get all our contact stuff at the end. So if you want to reach out, you can. All right. You want to go to the LGBTQ? Since I guess we're still on that.
Yeah, let me go. Yeah, go
All
ahead
right,
and read that so I can eat some of our birthday snacks for Quintessential so I don't
all right,
spike out.
all
Hold
right. Here
on.
we go. Here we go. One time for the one time. This is coming from the AP News, and this is today. Y'all know we always try to give you guys current and up to date stories, even though we've missed some stuff over the summer. But we're gonna pick up where we are. This is titled "Faculty Students Sue Christian School Over LGBTQ Hiring Ban." Divisions over LGBTQ related policies have flared recently at several religious colleges in the United States. On Monday, there was a dramatic new turn at one of the most rancorous battlegrounds, Seattle Pacific University. A group of students, faculty, and staff at the Christian University sued leaders of the Board of Trustees for refusing to scrap an employment policy barring people in same sex relationships from full time jobs. The 16 plaintiffs say the trustees' stance, widely opposed on campus, is breach of their fiduciary duties that threatens to harm SPU's reputation, worsen enrollment difficulties, and possibly jeopardizes its future. The lawsuit filed in Washington State Superior Court requests that the defendants, including the university's interim president, be removed from their positions. It asks that economic damages in the amount to be determined at a jury trial be paid to anyone harmed by the LGBTQ hiring policy. This case is about 6 men who act as if they and the educational institution they are charged to protect are above the law. While these men are powerful, they are not above the law. They must be held to account for their illegal and reckless conduct. In addition, the defense oh, I'm sorry. The defendants are board chair. I ain't gonna name all these people's names. Asked if the university had a response to the lawsuit. SPU's Director of Public Information, Tracy Norling, replied via email. Seattle Public University is aware of the lawsuit and will respond in due time, or in due course, I should say.
Well, let me stop you really because I know that article is really long,
Yeah,
but
I was ready to kind of round it up. Go ahead.
let me cut to the chase. What we have going on here is we got a private school, a private university saying, "Hey, religious university, hey, if you gay, you can't. We might hire you. Might being the operative word. But if we do hire you, you absolutely will not be full time. You absolutely have no chance in hell of getting tenure. And this is not, new. There's the LGBT student group now at BYU that has filed lawsuits and complaints. There's the LGBTQ group over in New York at Yeshiva Jewish College. A Jewish university that have filed complaints, and several religious institutions around the country where they are doing that. Now, really, being, I kind of feel like I know with how the right has aligned the judiciary and the circuits around the country where this is going to go. It's going to be another Hobby Lobby situation
Yeah.
where, they're going to say, well, this is a religious institution. It's not public, it's private. So they can have whatever hiring practices that they want. And so, with that being said, I'm on both sides of the fence. I'm on the side of the fence of, on one side, where one can say, well, you all knew what this was when you decided that this was the institution that you wanted to go to. You know their practices. This is not a public entity. This is a private entity, and you know what you're getting to when you go down that road, and that. But at the same time, I also understand that somebody's got to go and really continue to carry the torch and be inside and challenge the status quo and say, I don't care. That's not right. Y'all need to get on the right side of this argument. And over there, windmilling and towing the line from the inside. So I can kind of see both sides. I don't know. What do you think?
So I'm the same way. As somebody who went to private school my whole life, private schools, religious schools, they just do not. Um, the one of the appeals of a private institution is that they don't have to follow the public rules. Um, for example, let's take state testing. I mean, this is on a high school level. I know we're talking about a college, but I'm just using this as an example. Private schools do not have to follow the same state testing guidelines as a public school. Cam says, do they receive public funds? It depends. There are some private institutions that no, they don't. They don't receive any public funds. Some do, but the public funds are minute in comparison to what it takes to run the school, which is
And
why
then if
they
they
get
do receive
the
public
tuition.
funds, and then if they do receive public funds, it depends on the type of public funds that they receive. Because some public funds that they receive, it doesn't matter. They can still have their religious belief. They can still stand on their religious belief. There are other public funds that if they receive those, then they have to conform to certain federal laws and dictates.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, as somebody who went to private school, although even through college, I went to a religious college. Under the umbrella of the United Methodist Church. Um, I just feel like if, as discriminatory as it is, like you said, you knew the policy when you applied to the school. Um, and I agree, under this current climate of our judicial system, it will probably fall under, like you said, like the Hobby Lobby style. This is a private institution. They don't have to do it. It's the same thing when we think about Chick-fil-A not being open on Sunday. They
Mhm.
don't have to open up on Sunday just because everybody else is open on Sunday. It's a private, it's a privately run, and you sign when you agree to have a Chick-fil-A franchise, you agree to certain things. You cannot open up on Sunday or you will lose your franchise. Because that is that's it. I know it's messed up. I'm not saying that it's good, it's a good idea or I agree with it. But I do think that when we have to look at what separates a public from a private institution and understand that those are the things that separate the two. And
It
those are
would
the
be.
reasons why parents do send their kids to these types of
Mhm.
schools
I
for
mean,
these
it would be
reasons.
one thing to me if there weren't options out there. It reminds me of the people in the LGBTQ community that attend churches and sit underneath a pastor that does nothing but castigate them during whole sermons. And you sit up under that and you subject yourself to that, as if there aren't options out there, as if there aren't places for you to go where you can be celebrated
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to subject yourself to that. Because
Mm-hmm.
the truth of the matter is, the likelihood of you changing, I think the one school in question had been around since 1891, and they told them, hey, we ain't changing. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know that with all of the lawsuits and protests that you're going to change the minds of these individuals. Rather, and I know some of them said that they were concerned about enrollment and whether or not students would continue to try and go there. Well, maybe that's what they need. Shut it down. That could be the ultimate protest. Stop going. Stop allowing people to give money to places that are, bigoted, and
Mm.
let them close their doors.
Because the reality is, unfortunately, if money, I mean, if doing the right thing was the reason for people to do the right thing, half of the articles that we've read today wouldn't exist, right? So you have to appeal to people where they are, and most people, the only thing they're going to appeal, the only thing that's going to appeal to them is the financial side of this, you know. So like you said, if a consequence is that students no longer want to attend your school, then that's the consequence, and maybe that will force you to change or adjust how you feel about things. If you know we don't want a good principal, we want Mr. Clark, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Right.
certain things will make people change their mind. I don't know. you
That's
know
like my favorite movie.
I know, right? I know. Look, I
Yeah.
know. That's what I know, and I know you knew as soon as I said it. I know. Um, yeah. So, all right. Let's switch gears a little bit, you guys. I put the links for the articles we discussed. They're already in the chat. Again, y'all don't go nowhere. Just save the links for later. Don't leave us. Don't leave us. All right. Let's move into This is going to take us into our sort of our last couple of stories. Um This one is dealing with and this is something I've been telling y'all too, but anyway, this is coming from US News. New federal achievement data
Oh God, yeah,
shows
that one.
grim trajectory for country's 9-year-olds. And
Before
this is,
you read this, I'm going to give us props because we never pat ourselves on the back.
we always pat
What
ourselves
this
on that.
article is saying, we have been screaming since the very beginning of this pandemic. And I think we started like a couple months before the pandemic began. And everything, and remember, we kept saying, I can't wait to see what these numbers look like. I can't wait. And here we are. We get the first set of numbers because I knew that NAEP test, and that's the NAEP, was going to
Yeah.
give us some information. Go ahead. Go ahead.
New federal data, the first comparing academic achievement from before the Roni Ron pandemic to now, shows unprecedented drops in math and reading scores and the largest setbacks for students in more than half a century. These are some of the largest declines we have observed in a single assessment cycle in 50 years. I'm gonna read that one more time for the people in the back.
In the back.
These are some of the largest declines we have observed in a single assessment cycle in 50 years. Y'all know what happened 50 years ago?
5-0.
What was going on 50 years ago, El Teddy?
That would have been 1972. There was a whole lot going on in 1972.
Okay, child.
I don't know. Did we even have a U.S. Department of Education? We did not have
No, we
a
didn't.
U.S. Department of
So I don't even
Education
know
at the
what
time.
data they're
That came
using.
under Carter.
I don't even know what data they're using because we didn't. The Department of Ed was under Carter. He wasn't even elected until
Right.
1976. So I don't even know
76.
what data they're using. But
I mean, the
moving on.
NAEP has been around for longer than that, but they're probably
Yeah,
using
that's
old
true. You're
NAEP
right. That's true. That's true.
scoring.
All right, let me finish reading through this. I just read that. Okay. Declines in math and reading hardly come as a surprise given the significant academic setbacks that have been widely documented as a result of interrupted learning during the Roni Rome. But the results from NAEP, the National Assessment of Educational Progress, the first and only report with a nationally representative sample of students, confirms many school leaders' worst fears and highlights how devastating school disruptions have been, particularly for those already the furthest behind. Translation, our kids of color. I'm gonna just go and tell y'all that, okay? Or
you could stop the article right there. You could really, literally stop the article.
Yeah, because it just goes into the data, like how far we fell and all that.
And let me just give you some of the highlights of the data statistics. The thing that's alarming is they said even the highest performing students traditionally never have deficits. They always have even an incremental, small gain. Even those students had 2 point, 3 point declines. But I want to say Black students had the biggest and sharpest decline. There was a paragraph later in the article that talked about where white students deficits were, where the Hispanic deficit was, which I think the white students were 6%, Hispanics was at 8%. But I noted the deficit amongst Black students was 13%. 13. And we're even, and this includes even the highest performing students. It is abysmal, and what that's going to translate into is where they're going to be at when they enter college, where these students going to be academically when they enter college. Also, where are they going to be at when they enter the workforce?
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. As somebody who's still on the front lines, first of all, and we actually said this at the beginning of the pandemic as well, El Teddy, we said this. Most schools were not ready for distance learning. They didn't have the infrastructure set up. Teachers were not trained. A lot of kids were lost during that time period just based off of the fact that schools were not prepared for distance learning. Even under the best of circumstances, teachers were not trained to do this over a long, extended period of time. A lot of our lower income kids were not in a place where they could receive it. We had kids who were in shelters. We had kids who were dealing with death. We had kids who were dealing with the uncertainty of who they were going to live with, and what that was going to look like. I told y'all I had kids who literally their parents had whole parties going on in the background while we were trying to have class. We had kids whose parents were pawning the laptops. Do you know how many laptops my county found at the local pawn shops from parents trying to pawn the laptops that the school sent? So there are so many levels to this that go beyond, the kids just wouldn't sit in front of the computer to learn. And for the kids who would sit in front of the computer to learn, listen, there are adults who are hard pressed to sit in front of a computer to learn for 8 hours a day. Yeah, there were people who didn't have internet, even though and El Teddy would tell y'all that most places were giving, we're sending the internet for free and all of that stuff. You still had to have the infrastructures in place. I know the libraries here had hotspots that parents could go get a hotspot from the library. You still had to have certain infrastructures in place for all that stuff to work.
Because you got to keep the lights on.
Right.
Even got to have internet.
Exactly. And I told y'all then, this is where we were going to be. Fast forward.
We said
now.
Well, go ahead.
Let me just finish this last thought. My biggest issue now where we are is we continue to lower the bar for student achievement, and that's not helping either. We continue to lower the bar for student achievement, and that's not helping either. Go ahead, El Teddy.
Here's the even more, threat level red issue. You have catastrophic dips in the learning gains or in the educational process, coupled with what we talked about at the beginning of this live, catastrophic deficits in workforce. There's nobody. And then when you start to say, well, we just gonna let anybody breathing go in and teach, then that affects the quality of the education. This is a perfect storm of a situation that is going to be unprecedented in all of the history of education in this country. I mean, in all of, because this is you're talking about no workforce, and then you scrapping to have anybody fill spots, coupled with students who have, let's be honest, years of learning deficits.
Yeah.
That's a catastrophic perfect storm.
Right. And then kids go back to school to empty classrooms because, I mean, I know last year and this year as well, I can speak to my school. I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the episode. Now you have kids that are coming back into school and they're coming back into classrooms with no teachers.
None. You guys schools sending students on the high school level. Y'all just go to the gym.
Yeah.
It'll be somebody. They'll send security. They'll have a couple security guards in there, and y'all just don't burn the building down for this period.
Yeah. Proverbial one, dishing with dads. If you're still in the chat, El Teddy, you know what I'm getting ready to say now. We've been in school for 3 weeks, right? So for 3 weeks, your child hasn't had a teacher. Guess what's going to happen in 2 weeks? In 2 weeks, it's time for mid-advisory grades. We halfway through first quarter in less than 2 weeks because each quarter is 9 weeks. Yep. If we're in week 3, we got less than 2 weeks before we are at mid-advisory, which means that now your child has gone through almost a whole quarter. We're almost at a halfway point of the school year without a teacher. And we ain't talking about home ec and art. No. We talk about math, science, English, social studies. I'm the department chair in my building, and we are short a teacher. We're really short 2 teachers. But we were able to get enough teachers. We were able to get enough teachers to basically pick up the slack. But we're still down we have a full schedule that's blank.
Let me help some people who doesn't know how critical it is. When you start to see mass vacancies in the English department, and the reason that I say that is, if you think about high school, in a high school, English is the one subject everybody that enters that building has to have for the entirety of their time in high school. Everybody that walk in that building is going to have an English class. Everybody. So when you talk about you don't have the capacity to fill that, you know that you are at critical mass because you're not everybody. There's a lot of students getting left behind.
I'm sorry, C. Golden. C. Golden says, now I remember why I avoid these lives. It's depressing. And listen,
we do have good news at the end. We did.
We got some great news at the end. We're going to end it on a high note. But what I also want to say is, not only do we bring you guys the news, and unfortunately, most of the news we bring you isn't always the best, but we're bringing it to you guys to inform you about what is going on so that it'll hopefully motivate people and galvanize you guys to show up and show out at your school board meetings, at your local elections, because that's the only way these things change.
And let's be clear, a lot of the articles that you hear us reading, these people are at these school board meetings.
They
are at the school board meetings screaming and yelling. And, I mean, the venom and vitriol they're throwing at school boards is palpable. Do you hear me? They are there. And a lot of times we get, we get spent with all of this. Oh my God, it seems so depressing. But that's even more of a reason for us to do like they do it these people do. No, I'll be at the school board meeting because what's not going to happen is we leave you yahoos and you idiots in charge of what happens in things like education.
All right, we're gonna talk about a couple of charter schools, and then we have some good news, and we're gonna get out your hair, y'all. This is coming from AP. Tennessee staff fret as contentious charter school denied. When local school, this is in Tennessee. Oh, I said that. I'm sorry. When local school officials voted down a Tennessee charter school linked to Hillside College this summer, staffers and the state commission that would soon have to decide whether to let the controversial school open anyway reacted with shock at how things unfolded. The text messages they exchanged, obtained through a records request by the AP, showed the close attention state staffers paid to school board's resounding rejection in the wake of Hillside President Larry Arn's disparaging comments about teachers. When no one showed up to make the case for the Hillside affiliate charter school application, the alarm among those who would be left holding the bag was palpable. What? They invited both schools to speak and they did not show? What? These are the text messages, y'all. I'm speechless. Critics ranging from Democratic lawmakers to educators have argued the Tennessee Charter School Commission was designed to rubber stamp charters that local communities don't want, with several members tied to pro-charter groups. The 9 members were handpicked by Republican Governor Bill Lee, a vocal charter school supporter and prominent of Hillside's charter initiative, and confirmed by lawmakers in the GOP majority. I'm just trying to scroll through. We did a story on Hillside when this first happened. We did a story on Hillside, so this is kind of a follow-up.
This is a follow-up,
right? It looks like ultimately they were rejected. Hold on, let me read.
I think it was like 150 charters that they were trying to enter into that school district, and these were the ones that was doing the 1776 commission and had the 1776 curriculum that was going to change the language of what really happened in American history, and they were rejected. And now people are clamoring because we're in a part of the world where this stuff should just steamroll through, but it didn't. And it's an update because there are some people that are fighting. There are some people that are saying, yeah, there are still some, even in red states, there are still some school districts saying, no, we ain't having it. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely an update. That is good news that people are being told, no, we're just not going to go along with anything. This is still education, not indoctrination.
Yeah, you already know how I feel about charters. And if y'all been here for a little bit, y'all know how I feel. Y'all know too. I'm not a fan of charters. I've worked at a charter. I've seen what charters, I've seen it. So I have my feelings about charter schools. So yeah, that was more of an update for it. Now, locally, this is our last story. Then we have some good news, you guys, before we get out of here. It's been an hour. Y'all know we try to keep y'all to an hour. So, so this is a local story here in my area. Most of you guys know, if you know anything about schools and charter schools, you've heard of KIPP. KIPP is a charter school movement that is nationwide. There are KIPP charter schools all sprinkled throughout the United States. I believe they started in New Orleans after Katrina, and they kind of expanded from there. So this is a local news story, but it affects the whole KIPP brand, I guess. KIPP DC official embezzled $2.2 million in school funds. Federal lawsuit charges. A federal complaint charges that a Maryland mayor who died by his own hands earlier this year embezzled more than $2 million from KIPP DC charter schools, where he had been the senior director of technology. In the civil forfeiture complaint filed Monday in U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, prosecutors said that Kevin Ward spent $2.2 million in school funds on property in West Virginia: a Jeep Gladiator, a Tesla Model, a Tesla Model S, a Tesla Model Y, an Alfa Romeo, child, a Subaru. How you go from a Tesla to a Subaru?
Maybe it was a good Subaru. Maybe it was something like, I don't know.
It sounded like he was starting a car lot. He had a Subaru, a Jeep Wrangler. another Jeep Wrangler, a
He
Ducati
seems to like Jeep.
motorcycle,
He
a
seems to like Jeep. He does. He
right,
likes
a
Jeep.
Ford F-150 pickup truck, a Taxa Cricket camper, and sports memorabilia, including autographs from Jerry Rice and Michael Jordan. Oh, he was just having himself a good time.
Well,
The funds were supposed to pay for laptops and other technology for students at KIPP DC, which serves some 7,000 kids at 8 schools in the district. Officials said the fund financial irregularities during a routine internal review in December and contracted federal authorities and contacted, federal authorities. In a statement, the network said a further investigation found this is an isolated incident conducted by a single individual who took advantage of extraordinary circumstances during the pandemic and the individual's role as head of technology. They said they've already recovered $1 million.
I
And
mean,
they're optimistic that they'll be able to get about 800,000 more.
here's what I'm gonna say, because that's the long and short of it. It did not go without stating that I did read at the end of the article that before he ended his own life, that he did have a room down here to the Rainbow Coalition compound, which I guess if I'm being on the glass half empty, that means that I mean we're getting to a space where you know it's not just we're doing bad as well. Everybody does bad. I don't know.
What's interesting is that he took a leave of absence from his position and proceeded to run for public office, and he was actually elected mayor.
And won.
Yeah, he was actually elected mayor of the town not too far from where I grew up. I mean, it's literally right across the DC line. It is literally right across the line.
He's I think he was their first openly gay mayor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He is black.
He was black. Yes, he was black.
He was, I should say, he was.
Yeah, he was one of us. He was one of our people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now he sound like Jesse Jr.
I mean, he had a thing for Jeeps. I mean, it's not good. I mean, it is it does not bode well. I mean, when you get that high and you get that much notoriety and you don't do right by, because let's be clear, we're not at the stage where there's a lot of tolerance still. There's still a lot of bigotry around. There's still a lot of racism around. And when we do get people who do get in these positions, we're not at the point where they can just blow it off and not do right by the positions with which they hold. Because there are a lot of people behind you that may have the opportunity to get in a position like that taken away from them because we're just not there as a society yet. We're just openly not racist and not bigoted anymore.
Yeah. Child. So that is what it is. So those are our stories. Look, we tried to give y'all a lot. We
been here a lot of stories in this 1 hour.
We covered a lot of information. Yes, we did. And you know, for those who are new here, I'm the beauty, he's the brains. Okay, he pulls the articles. Okay, you know, so thank him.
Somebody always ends up asking, well, why you all read the article? I can read. Can you not? Somebody actually put that in the DM. Can you not read? Yes, I can read English.
We have a nice system worked out. Okay, we are good. Remember when but listen, if y'all remember in the beginning when we were doing the state by state report of what was going on, and the early he would go from A literally to Z. Okay. He would read every state and he did that for months. Okay, he did that. I'm
holding my own weight over here. Please be clear. I hold my own weight.
Right. But anybody that is new here, thank you for coming. I hope you'll be back. We are going to end on a positive note. El Teddy, I'm gonna let you report the positivity. What we got?
Good positive news. Last night was the primetime Emmys at Abbott Elementary. I know they got 2 awards.
Yes.
They got Quinta Brunson got best writing for a comedy series, and Cheryl Lee Ralph won best
Supporting.
outstanding supporting actress in a
Yeah.
comedy series,
Mhm.
and it was both of their first Emmy award.
Yeah.
And we are so, and although it is satirical, it brings the spotlight to some of the bad parts of education.
It's
But it
satirical, but it's so
also
on point in so many
it
ways. Like
is,
it's
but
so on point.
also that program gives money back to
They've done a lot, and
schools.
we've
They've
talked
done a
about that.
lot
Yeah, they've done
for
a lot.
schools and awareness of what's really happening and going on. So we really want to celebrate Quinta Brunson and Cheryl Lee Ralph. We know Quinta Brunson is the show creator. She's also the show runner and executive. She's one of the three showrunners and executive producers. Cheryl Lee Ralph um, also won for, and Cheryl Lee Ralph plays the role that I think every new teacher meets an old teacher like a Cheryl Lee Ralph. That when you first come into the system, you go, you're the new teacher, you don't know anything, and there's always, her name is Miss Howard on the show, and there's always an older teacher, a veteran teacher like Cheryl Lee Ralph's character, Miss Howard, where she's been there, did that, done that, know all the tricks of the trade, knows all the secrets. I'm so excited. Their season 2 begins on the 21st, which is next week Wednesday. So we're excited about that, and I think it's going to be a great season opener. But we just want to celebrate them. Kudos to them and shots out um, to them for winning
And
last
when I
night.
say that Shirley Ralph had me literally in tears this morning when I saw it, because I didn't watch the Emmys, I ain't gonna lie. But I saw the speech. That's one of the first things I saw this morning when I went onto my Instagram. One of my friends on Instagram had posted her speech from the very beginning. And when she came up there and she sang, and then that speech she gave about continuing to just believe, and when you think nobody's paying attention, just believe. And
Hmm.
when she said, when you have a Quinta Brunson in your corner, I said, baby, what? Like, just it just sent chills. And she said, and when you got a husband like mine in your corner and children like I mean, it just, that speech was everything. That speech was everything.
Yeah,
um
we definitely. It was a lot of black magic last night. I know Lizzo won. I know Zendaya won. I think she was
yeah,
either the
Zendaya
first
won
or
her second
second.
Emmy.
But I think she was the first one black woman to win in that category.
Yeah, because she
Um,
okay.
and I know Gerard Carmichael won for Rothaniel. I know I did that on my channel with the
Yeah,
panel, and
yeah.
there was a lot of good wins for us. You know.
I did. Shirley Ralph kids was screaming for her. Like, I mean, if you saw that of them screaming for her, oh my god, I just it's so real. First of all, if you go back to when she was nominated and you saw her son, he taped her when she got the phone call, and you saw how happy he was for her when she got the phone call.
You got to
Um,
think Shirley Ralph goes all the way back
the
to the
Dreamgirls,
late 70s, early 80s with
yeah, she goes
Dreamgirls.
back to Broadway with
I
Dreamgirls.
remember a little boy, I don't want to tell my age, but I remember her on the shows like It's a Living, which goes back to
I
the 80s and
remember
things like
Italy.
that. Remember she was
Is
on It's a
I
Living.
love it.
That was a
I
nice
remember
little
It's a
sitcom.
Living.
And, but most people know her from Sister Act 2 and and things like that. But
She
yeah.
came. It's a Living used to come. I want to say it used to come on like Logo, like late at night. It
Did
one of those
it?
channels picked. One of those channels had picked it up because I
Picked it
remember
up
watching it,
for
going, "Oh my
syndication.
gosh, yeah, Tabitha." I think that's why he did it. Yeah, I do. I think it's because he got caught and he didn't want to go to jail. I think that's what happened. Yeah, but
So
yeah. So I just want to. We're ending on a good note. Black Girl
yeah.
Magic. Jackie Harry posted a
Hmm.
congratulations to Shirley Ralph, and you remember Shirley Ralph is only the second black woman to win in that category. Jackie Harry being the first, and that just lets you know right there because that goes all the way back to the '80s with 227.
Hmm.
And she
Well,
posted a nice message for her.
and it was full circle because they said Jackie that Shirley Ralph was originally supposed to get that
Oh, I
role.
didn't know that. I
She
could
was
see
supposed to
Shirley
get that
Ralph playing
role
that part. I could
That
absolutely
Jackie
see
Harris
Shirley Ralph
had.
playing that part.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Not that was before my time. Y'all both old. Ah!
You know what? Don't do that.
Because it was what is
Don't do that.
Bernadette Peters? Was it Bernadette Peters?
It
Who was
is a little.
oh, Crystal Bernard. Crystal Bernard, Shirley
In what?
Rouse.
In what? It's a living.
It's a living.
Um, I I have to go back. I have to go back, but
Anyway,
yeah, you have to look it up. It's old
but it
school.
is
It
the
had a
show is
great theme song.
yeah,
It was funny. It was a funny show. It
yeah,
was a
and it was
really
very
funny
80s.
show.
The show was
It was
very
very
80s. Very 80s. Okay, y'all, let me get out of here. So we've been here a little over an hour. Y'all know we normally we're good with our time, but we've been here for a minute. El Teddy, what you got coming up on your channel? So people can come over there and check it out.
I owe y'all a lot. I apologize. I have been traveling, but I am going
He
to
ain't
get
been home,
about
y'all.
it.
He ain't been home.
I ain't been home. I missed episode 1 of Queen Sugar, so I'll do episode 1 and 2. This week we'll have a panel. Me, Really B, and Ebby will do a panel discussion on Queen Sugar for its last season. Y'all know I'm gonna give y'all some politics of it all, and some run your mouths. I know Silly Saturday has been few and far between, but I'm out of town every freaking Saturday. You may see me and this young lady together somewhere in the very near future. We may be sitting together, might go live together, so y'all look out for that. Um, and that's about it. Oh, shout out to everybody. We had a lot of new people here. Shout out to all. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have another panel with a bunch of us, black gay men. We'll talk about some things and discuss some topics. And
Oh, you know
but yeah,
what? I just got to. All right, I'm sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Real quick, we got another little education story. Cardi B visited her old middle school. She just donated $100,000 to her old middle school. And so that just came across my wires. Video of her going into her old middle school child looking snotched. But
Well, that's good.
shouts out to you. Shouts out to you, Cardi.
But yes, I just want to say shouts out to all of the people who came in. Maybe today was your first time watching. We appreciate you. We celebrate you. We are grateful for you. Hit the like, or hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this out, because we do this because we believe that in the information that we're giving to you. We believe in the commentary that we're giving to you, and we believe that people of our ilk need to be aware of these things, because information is power, education is power. So if you have been edified by what we're saying, please be sure to share this out, because somebody needs to hear this. And that's all I have.
All right. Well, with that being said, I'm going live in about 15 minutes over on my channel. We got some things to discuss, honey. Some things to discuss. And I will see y'all later. Mwah! Peace. El Ted, you know what I need you to do in between all the